Yeah. So in this work, pastoring is a very fluid thing. And you listen to the spirit and you experiment a lot. And one of the things that I saw, my husband is, my partner every step of the way in this work, and a group of us who've been doing this work fairly organically in our community for a long time, was kind of going back to sex offenders. A lot of people who have committed sex crimes, everything from, slapping somebody on the butt in a bar to harming a child, they feel incredible shame around that. And Jesus is the bearer of our shame. Um, and so you get into prison, and church on the inside is, I mean, you go to the dark places and the spirit is just profoundly active. And so a lot of folks will come to a faith and an understanding of the redemptive work of Christ in prison. So these folks go to prison and they have church on the inside, and then they get out and they desperately want community. But because of the nature of their charges, what we do is we isolate them. And so we were kind of looking at what would it look like if we launched an over 18 fellowship. So we partnered with a local church and we created a service on Monday nights. And guys and a lot of volunteers, and we all showed up and we had a meal. It was really beautiful. The woman, I mean, we thought, well, we could potluck it or whatever, but there was a young woman in this congregation who says, I think the Lord is prompting me to come and feed these men. And my husband and I have means, so I'm just going to make dinner for everybody every Monday night. And when I sat down and heard her story of being in foster care, being perpetrated against as a child, she said, this is my testimony to the healing work of Christ in my own life.
Wow.
That I can feed guys, some of which who have harmed children the way I was harmed as a child. And so she would cook dinner and we'd all get together and we'd hang around the table. And then the folks at the church that was giving us the building wanted everybody to go into the worship service. And we're going to have, videos, PowerPoints or whatever, and sing songs and preach and whatnot. And so we noticed that a lot of the guys, after the time around the table, they didn't want that. They'd had church on the inside that was small and interactive and raw and real. And to all of a sudden become part of a spectator sport just wasn't for them. And so after a while, the church was like, well, we're really not, what did they say? We're not developing worshipers. And I'm like, no. So they didn't want to do it anymore. We create as many spaces as we can around food and around the table, which is really funny because when we look at our modern worship type gatherings, that weren't the way of Jesus. The way of Jesus